What is up, y'all? My name is Manny G, and today I'm going to be setting up a unreleased, at the time of this video, stacked deck. This video is basically brought to you by Chetty. For those of you who don't know, Chetty's the guy behind Stacked, and he's also the guy behind Zaneshit. So I ran into him at the Witch County Slush Cold event, and I bought a deck off of him. I'm really excited about that deck already, but he was kind enough to hook me up with 2 sets of Zaneshit bushings and his unreleased carbon black Zaneshit Z4 wheels. So really excited to set this up. Bunch of unreleased stuff, and before anyone asks, I did run it by him before if I can make this video, and he really didn't care. So the deck itself is an unreleased low mold that he has, and when he showed this to me in person, I literally knew I had to get this because it reminded me a lot of the Bloob Toast mold, which is a really low kick board. You can kind of see it here. We have some like pretty defined dips here, but like honestly very little concave, and then the graphic itself is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm really excited. You know, with stack decks, you know, you're definitely getting some top tier craftsmanship. Stack's an OG deck maker from California, and you know, it's really cool to get my hands on something like this. As someone who makes decks myself, it's really cool to see people's like, you know, techniques up close and like how they make their boards. So yeah, I'm really excited to check this stack deck out. And then it comes with a sheet of grip tape here, which I will be applying. We're gonna do a little straight grip gap here. You know, this deck itself was like around $50, and usually I would say that's too much for a fingerboard, but when it's a brand that has a reputation like Stacked, like I really don't mind it, especially once like I have the deck in my hands and I see how insanely accurate everything is, how insanely clean everything is. It's one of those things where like you're just paying for the quality. You're not just paying for the reputation of the company, you're also paying for some really insane quality decks. So $50 for a Stacked, I'm not mad about it. $50 for like a random person who just started making decks like last week, I'm gonna be a little mad about it. Clean little grip job here. Let's see if it peels nicely. And also this grip feels really nice. Like I could already tell it's like a little spongy. But it feels good. Like I'm very used to the grip that I sell now, so when I feel anything else I'm like nah, but this feels pretty nice. It's like kind of spongy, different feel for sure, but this whole deck is just going to be completely out of the ordinary for me, and I'll tell you why right now. So I'm setting this one up with some dynamics. So the fact that I'm using dynamics might be a little controversial to your neighborhood unemployed homie, and that's because I have a truck sponsor. But the cool thing about my truck sponsor is that he does not care if I use other people's things. And I haven't tried dynamic trucks since like I literally started fingerboarding. Like I was only using dynamics at first, and by that I mean like maybe for like 2 months as I was like learning how to kickflip and like do all the basic tricks. It's gonna be cool to go back to trying out dynamics for the first time, especially since I've gotten a lot better at fingerboarding lately. And I know some companies get weird about their riders using other people's products, but as someone who sponsors people myself and who has a team for Dungeon Crawl, I definitely do not care if my riders use other people's products. And that's mostly because why would I want to limit someone in something that's like a hobby, you know? Like I'm not gonna be like, oh man, this is so serious to the point where like I need you to only use my product. Like I feel like it just kind of takes the fun out of the entire hobby. And I don't know, if you take that serious, I'm not gonna judge you for that. I just feel like it's not really that big of a deal, like personally to me. You know, back then I was using stock tuning for like everything, including the dynamics. Now that I have a lot more time in this and I have, you know, I have a preferred, like, I know what things should kind of feel like to me or not. Looking at the shape of the deck right now, and I really like the way the nose is like a little on the like fuller, almost boxier side, and then the tail's like a lot shorter and it's like stubbier, and I really like that style of fingerboards. I kind of fluctuate on like shapes and stuff, or like what kind of shapes I gravitate towards, but This is definitely a combination that I've used in the past, or something similar to this, and I'm really excited to try it out. These holes are definitely kind of cooked, but I'm gonna move along here for the sake of the video. So here we have the 32mm dynamic trucks, looking pretty cool. We're gonna put them on the board first, and then we're gonna switch out the bushings. If you remembered what I said last time, you know that I use the Urcase, keeps all my nuts and screws together. Yeah, so one thing I'd like to kind of talk about here, or yap a little bit about, going back on the topic of sponsorships. I've noticed, at least, especially now that I'm a brand owner, and that I have a team, and that there's people interested in joining my team, people kind of get mad when you don't really show them the love that they're expecting. Like I mentioned last time, there's like a fine line between like spamming someone, like tagging them in every single thing you post using their products, and just like showing love and like vocalizing that you enjoy their product. I've gotten people who have straight up just like went up to me and asked me like, hey, can I be on your team, without even like trying any of my products out. I think that's definitely not the way to go about it. But on the other hand, I've also seen people take the route of like, you know, spamming me and like tagging me in all their edits, and every single little post, like they tag me. And you know, don't get me wrong, like that's definitely like beneficial to me, and I see it, but it almost makes me feel like I'm being smothered a little. There's definitely a fine line. And then another issue that's kind of I've noticed is, after a while, like people seem to feel like entitled to joining your team. Like I said, like all of this is for fun. Like you're never gonna catch me over here like I have a huge appreciation for like fingerboarding as a whole, obviously. I just don't think it's like worth getting worked up over, right? Like I've noticed people kind of like crashing out over me not like sharing all of their posts that they tag me in, them expecting me to put them on my team after them like using or buying a few of my products and then just tagging me and everything. Like in the end, I think it's important that, like I mentioned last time, everyone kind of gets a say in like what they're looking for people on their team, whether it's just homies or whether it's people who are insane at fingerboarding. The big misconception is that there's one way to do it, and all you have to do is support the products and then tag, and eventually that's gonna guarantee you a spot on the team. And I think a lot of people, like on podcasts, when they're asked that question, that's kind of the answer. It's like, well, just buy my stuff and, you know, we'll see. And like, I don't know, I think it leaves the wrong impression. People get a little entitled, and like I said, all of this is for fun in the end. So me personally, I definitely do not think that anyone's entitled to being on my team, and I'm not entitled to being on anyone's team, and it just shouldn't work that way, you know? There should be more of like a friendship built, and you should have a love for the product to the point where like you won't mind just buying the product. Like if you're just getting on a team to get like free stuff, like I think you're in it for the wrong reason. And a lot of people do think that is the reason you get a sponsorship, is so that you get free product. And that's definitely part of it, right? In the end, it's kind of like a contract. Like you give people free stuff and they rep your product. And to me, like someone who's just your friend can be on your team, and there's no really like deal. You're just like, you're hooking them up because they're your friend, and that's okay too. So these are conversations that I think need to be held at a bigger scale, and in the grand scheme of things, like I feel like it's never going to be that deep. But when it gets to a point where people are getting mad and angry over not being on fingerboard teams, like that's where I think it's gone a little too far. And so here we have the trucks on the setup, looking pretty cool. And then now we're gonna put the Zaneshit bushings on. So I went with these really cool green ones. And then out of the package here, it's blue packaging, so like the actual color of the bushings looks a little different, but you can kind of see them here. They're like these like cool, like almost, they look like they would glow or something. They're like that kind of green. And then we have like these little more like yellow green pivot cups. So I usually don't, oh, and they also give you like little washers if you need. So I like that, giving people options. So I usually don't mess with like pivot cups, like swapping them out. So I'm thinking for this video, just for the sake of trying something new. We're gonna try out putting the pivot cups in and all. So then let's see, it looks like these pivot cups are like already cut to size for the most part. Yeah, that goes in nicely. I can definitely probably trim this a little, but I think I'm gonna leave it there. See, so hopefully it shows a little in the actual, oh yeah, that's gonna show a little bit. Cool. All right, so today's definitely gonna be like a very different setup for me, and I'm excited about that. I feel like when you get used to using the exact same setups over and over again, you kind of get, at least me personally, I get kind of bored. So every once in a while, I like to use some sort of crazy different setup, and yeah, it kind of scratches that itch. All right, so here we put the Zaneshits on. I have the little cone shape one at the top. I don't know if you can kind of see that. It's not really focusing. Oh, there you go. So we have the cone shape one at the top, and then we have the flat one on the bottom. And here we go. We're just gonna screw this in. Yeah, that looks sweet. It also matches the guy's like hat here, so I think that looks pretty cool. They feel nice and loose too, which is what I like. So the second pivot cup that came is a little too long, so I have like these Gundam like nipper things. I'm just gonna like use that to trim the excess off without trying to cook this completely. There, that surprisingly worked. The setup's looking pretty cool and like just very like matchy. Like I'm not someone who usually tries to match the setup parts too much, but when it lines up like this and everything's kind of matching, I don't know, the artist in me just like really likes it. So the last part we're setting up here are these unreleased Zaneshit Z4 fingerboard wheels. So it says fits all standard trucks, and this is the carbon black colorway. So I don't know when these come out exactly. I think they're supposed to come out like next month or something, but right in the hand they feel really cool. They're kind of like, they're hard, but they have like a sort of like grippiness to the outside that I could already feel. And then the shape is like really cool. It's kind of like this round, yeah, it's basically like a big street wheel. My buddy Jet already tried them out and he said that they're really good, so I'm excited to try them. So I believe that's the back of them. Oh yeah, this is gonna look sick. It's not like, they're not like fully black, they're kind of like a matte, like really dark gray, so they look really cool. They look like they could be like actual skateboard wheels, if you know what I mean. Have these kind of tightened on, and they actually do have some free spin, which I don't really think matters to a lot of people, but some people do check that when they're setting up fingerboards, and I've always thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I don't know what kind of bearings these have, but they feel really good. Knowing Chetty, it's gonna be some high quality stuff, so yeah, they actually have a good amount of free spin. So if you like that, maybe you could hear it. Put it on the mic here. All right, so here we have the final setup. Yeah, this is an insane looking setup here. And I don't know if you could tell how low those kicks are. I'm excited to try this out. But yeah, overall, just a very satisfying setup to look at, if you ask me. Already on the mouse pad, these wheels feel insane, and this mold feels really good. Wow, it's like very low kicks, low concave, but like, oh yeah. Yeah, this is fire. Okay, let's give it the nollie heel test. Yeah, this is a good setup. I could already tell right away. And then I wanted to give the wheels a little test on a different surface other than this mouse pad, so I brought out my granite marble slab thing that I thrifted. All right, here we go. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can hear this. Wait, hold on. Yeah, that is sick. I can already tell you, this is one that I will be using a lot. You know, the bushings themselves also feel really good. Like, they're keeping the trucks very loose, and they're like, they got a little like springiness to them. So definitely some solid bushings. Overall, every part of this setup is really solid. Really realistic feeling. Really, because it's so low, your tricks stay fairly low, but like it doesn't lose any of the responsiveness. It's just very responsive. Yeah, this is sick. Definitely worth what I paid for. If I even had to pay for these other products, I definitely would not be mad at all. I'm really excited that this setup is so good because my buddy Dylan, who's on the stack team, was really excited for me to try it, and you know, I'm gonna be able to tell him that I am not disappointed one bit. So definitely shout out to Chetty. Check out Stacked, Zaneshit. Shout out Scott. Check out Dynamic. This is a really good setup, and I guess I'll leave you guys with some clips. Subscribe for more fingerboard content. I'm gonna try my best to pump out more videos, and yeah, thanks for watching.